Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the first webinar series of the Agency Advancement Program. Thank you for joining this morning. I think it's 11 a.m. Pakistan. It's 2 p.m. for us here. I'm going to just take a couple of more minutes just to wait for other people to join who might be interested in joining at the moment. So please do bear with us. Thank you for joining on time. Just a couple more minutes. Thank you. Okay, let's get started. Thank you again for joining us today on the first of our Agency Advancement Program webinar series. For this first webinar, the topic that we have chosen to cover today is common troubleshooting issues and basic resolution guidelines. So essentially, for those of you who have been using AdWords, whether extensively or minimally, you often do run into certain issues, certain problems, certain complaints that often happen quite commonly. We as the support team often also get a lot of these common issues repeating again and again. So we thought it'd be a good idea to go through some of these common issues that often happen in accounts and what you could do on your own end as a self-help to tackle these issues and to reach a resolution, so that generally, of course, we are available to help on any issues that you face, but that does take time to reach out. That you might be just waiting to us get back to you. Why not address them if you're able to address them yourself as you face the issues? So I'm going to go through some of these common troubleshooting issues and some basic guidelines today. Today's agenda, as I was mentioning, is around this self-help. So the first issue that we're going to look at is self-help with common ad serving issues. And this is a problem that does happen often, where our advertisers face problems in their accounts where the ads are not serving. Secondly, I'm also going to cover some common performance issue questions and how to troubleshoot them. And these are common questions that do come around performance in both display network and search network as well. I'm also briefly going to talk about invoicing and some queries around billing. We won't go too deep in that, but just a little bit on that. And finally, of course, how you can go about finding additional support in case you are facing issues in your account that you're not able to resolve yourself. There are various different options, which I'll go through for you at the end of this webinar. So to begin with, let's start with getting familiar with your account. As I'm saying, I'm expecting some of you, most of you have worked with AdWords accounts, have seen AdWords accounts, and ran campaigns and ads. Nonetheless, let's start from the basic. Let's begin with how you can expect with their AdWords account to look like. So this is a generic view of an AdWords account. This is actually my kind of test account that I use, a dummy account that I created. This is essentially the basic account view that you would be seeing in the old interface. The old interface is the one that you must have been using from before, and I would imagine most of you are still using the old interface. So this is the view of the account view at the moment. You will be seeing the entirety of the screen You'll see at the top right corner of this account the customer ID. That's the ID of the account. It's uh, it's a 10-digit number. Below that, you will see the login email, which you are using to currently access the account. Furthermore, in the main body of the account, this is where you see all the account data. Now, the data you see here depends on what you have selected as a sub-tab on the top. Right now, we're selected on campaigns, but you can switch to ad groups, settings, ads, ad extension, whatever you want to see. Depending on what you choose there, you will see the main body. Also, there is a menu towards the top, which includes the home, campaigns, opportunities, reports, and tools. Different menus have different options and different features in them. At the moment, we're looking at the campaigns menu, as in we're clicked on campaigns, and therefore you see the campaigns view. And finally, the top, very top right corner, the circular icon that you see, that's what we call the gear icon. That is an icon. Once you click it, you will see various different menu options. Options like account settings, billing settings, linked accounts, things like that. So that is the gear icon where we can access those additional menus. This is a view of the new interface. Now, I'm sure some of you have seen it. I imagine most of you are not using it yet, but in this webinar, we will kind of toggle back and forth between the new and the old interface in certain aspects that we speak about, mostly because we do encourage you to slowly start moving towards the new interface, because eventually the old one will not be available. And the new interface does have a lot more additional features that are more useful and will be beneficial for you moving forward. So this is the basic view of the new interface that you'll be seeing if you go into an account. Similar concept. Instead of having the account ID at the top right corner, here you have it in the top left corner. The main body of the account, again, is showing as you see here in the main body. This account at the moment is not selected to the campaigns view as it was previously. This is selected on the overview, which is something that you can see at the top left corner. The overview portion is in blue. That means that is the one that is selected, which is why you're seeing the overview of the account. Now, the overview in the old interface didn't actually exist in the main view. The overview could be accessed to the home menu towards the top, but in the new interface, this has been combined into this one panel. Furthermore, replacing the gear icon is actually the tools icon at the top right corner over there. But the difference is actually the tools icon here has a lot more features inside it as compared to the gear icon in the old interface. So it's kind of like a one-stop menu for a lot of accessibility. So everything that used to be under tools, reporting features, remarketing, things like that are all under this tool. So once you click on that, you'll see it's a very extensive and big menu. Okay, so that's getting familiar with the account. Just on a basic view, let's talk a little bit of the navigation panel, which is something in the old interface that you see on the left side of the account. The navigation panel is basically like the system dashboard. It breaks down and shows you everything, all the campaigns that are present at the moment in the account. It's a list of all the active and inactive campaigns in the account. If you want to see all the campaigns in the account, see all the data of all the campaigns, make sure you're clicked on all campaigns all the way at the top. Otherwise, if you click on a specific campaign, it'll break down into the ad groups, and then you'll be able to see which ad groups are present within that campaign. And depending on what you're selected on, you will see data on the main screen. So the main screen will display the data for the specific campaign or ad group that you have selected. Similarly, in the new interface, again, the main panel is on the left. So on the left side is where you again see the all campaign section with a list of all the campaigns, both active and inactive campaigns that are there. But an additional feature in the new interface is this section, which is the view by the campaign type. Now, this was not present in the old interface, but in the new one, you have the option of selecting to view any of these campaign types exclusively. So if you click on search campaigns, it'll show you only your search campaigns. If you click on display, only your display campaigns. This is a very useful feature, which is included in the new interface. Allows you to break down and view the campaigns based on the campaign type. Moving forward a bit more in the new interface as well, there is a second column towards the left, which is where you're seeing the opportunities, ad groups, ad extensions, all those tabs. In the old interface, these all used to be towards the top of the account, but in the new one, this has come next to the main control panel for ease of access and accessibility. So just to bear in mind, these do give you a new orientation and a campaign explorer kind of a view, a more intuitive arrangement to allow you to kind of look at a campaign and then see the breakdown side by side to it. To do a specific campaign, again, make sure you click on a specific campaign to see the ad groups inside. Now, a common issue, now that we have gone through the campaign and the account setup, a common issue that we often hear, and I'm sure many of you have faced this before, ads are not serving. It's actually a bulk of the that we often hear with regards to our support. And so I'm going to go through some of the reasons why you might be seeing in your account, why you might not see your ads serving, and what to do in case you do see that. How to tell whether ads are not serving. So again, basically, when we look at the account view, when you see no data in the graph or no numbers on the table, you can say that many people conclude that ads are not serving. However, what is happening here, it's important to be aware of exactly all the parameters that are involved in the view and the reports that you're looking at. First of all, one thing I'd like to point out too is the date range. So in the new interface, sorry, again, before we go to the date range, just a view of the new interface again. In the new interface where you would see ads are not serving, no data over in this place in the overview. So one of the factors that can often cause this is the ad status, which is I'm sure you can guess it's the most common reason when ads don't serve is when the ads are not approved. So if the ads are disapproved or if the ads are under review. So in order to check the ad status in the old interface, make sure you're clicked on the ads tab, and then you'll be able to see all the ads listed and the statuses of these ads. So if the ad's under review, it will not serve. Also, if the ad is disapproved, it will not serve. So ads under review, generally this happens when you create new ads. Ads go under review immediately after you create them, and generally it takes about 24 hours for ads to be approved or finish the review process. Within that time, the ads will not serve. Sometimes it can happen before 24 hours, but generally 24 hours. If it's more than 24 hours, please do reach out to us. Then there is an issue. After the review, while the review is happening, the ads will not serve. After the review happens, if the ad gets disapproved, the ads will not serve. Now, disapproval of ads depend on various different policy reasons. You can find details of these policy disapprovals in our help center. But also, when the ad is disapproved, generally you'll see a message with the disapproval. Next to the disapproved, when it says disapproved, next to it you'll see a white box. If you move your mouse over it, it should generally show you the reason for the disapproval. So when the ads have under review or disapproved status, they will not serve. So that's one basic reason why ads might not serve. In the new interface, when ad disapprovals happen, as I was saying, there's actually additional features and by which you can actually get more details regarding the ad. So in the new interface, when an ad is disapproved, you check it by clicking on the ads tab. And when the ad is disapproved, you see the disapproved status. But with it, you also see the policy violation right on the status itself. So generally it says disapproved and the colon, and then says the reason for the disapproval, and they can be the many different policy violations that relate to ad status. So again, I encourage you to use the new interface because, like I said, many more features in it. And similarly with under review, if the ad is under review, you'll see the same status in the ads tab. A second reason that can cause often our advertisers to feel that the ads are not serving is when you're looking at the date range and you're probably not looking at the correct date range. So one of the first checks that we do when we do hear ads are not serving is to make sure we're looking at the right data. It can often be quite surprising how often this mistake can be made, that users can be looking at the wrong data and seeing no data. and then assuming that the ad's not serving. So when you see some, for example, in this situation, you're not seeing any data. Check what the date range is that you're looking at. The date range is at the top right corner of the account, which is where you will find you'll be able to set the different date ranges. So if the date range is in a period that doesn't have any data, you won't be able to see it. Just to be a bit more detailed into the date range section, once you click on that top right corner, it'll break down the menu of the date ranges that you can access. The drop-down menu has various different kinds of date ranges you can choose from. There is a custom date range selection whereby you can choose which date to start and which date to end as you wish. Also, there is the all-time date range, which shows basically from the day of the account creation till the present day, the whole data for the whole time. And in between, there's a bunch of different variations of date ranges that you can choose from. Now, in an account where you're not seeing any data, first thing I would do is to ensure that you're looking at if you can switch to the all-time date range. To see kind of basically where the data, where the ad serving has been over the time of the account. And we can see that the previous date range that we were looking at was over here where there was no data. So that previous window was selected to this date range. And because of that, there was no data on the graph and there was no data on the table. So this is one of the reasons we often can resolve the issue with regards to as not serving when it's people looking at the wrong date range. If you want to look at the most recent date range, switch to today. You can put it on today and then see the most recent status of the ad serving. If you're seeing data there, that means the ads have been serving. But even then, sometimes you might not still see data. Before you make conclusions that there's an issue there, do bear in mind that AdWords data is not real time. So if your ads were only just approved, or your campaign was just unpaused and made active, you will not start to see data immediately. There can be a 3 to 4 hour delay between the live status and what the interface reports. So do give it some time if that is the situation. Similarly, in the new interface, again, like I said, you'd be looking at this section. If you don't see any data, you'd be looking at the date range again at the top right corner. The date range menu in the new interface is a bit different with some additional features. The old features are still there. Today, as an option, is available to see the most recent data. You can, again, choose all time to see the whole date range for the account. And you can also use a custom date range like you did before. The additional feature in the new interface is this calendar visualization, which is a selection view that makes it very easy for you to select the number of dates that you want to select. So this is you can scroll up and down this view to see different months and throughout the year, and just select the dates, the start date and the end date on a calendar view. It's a much easier navigation path in the new interface. Another reason, moving on from the date range, the element status. So essentially what I mean by element status is the status of an element. So let's break that down a bit more. By element, I'm referring to anything that's campaigns, ad groups, ads, or keywords. These are what I'm referring to here as elements. And the status of these elements can have various statuses. They can be enabled, paused, or removed. When an element is enabled, that means it's active, it's eligible to run. When it's paused, it means it'll only run if you enable it again. If it's removed, that means it has been deleted. And unfortunately, once removed, an element cannot be restored. So all campaigns, ad groups, keywords, and ads are accompanied by a status panel to the left of their name on a report. There are generally 3 statuses to choose from. So oftentimes, the ad not serving issue can be related to the element status. Let's take an example. So let's say here, in this example, we have an account in which one of the ads is not serving, which is the second ad. What is happening in this case? We're looking at it in the ads tab, and we're seeing that the ad is enabled and the ads are approved. What could be going on after that? When we explore a bit more, we see that this ad is not serving, but when we move out from the ads tab and we look at the ads group option, the ads group tab, we find that the ad group that this ad is in is actually paused at the moment. So even though the ad is approved and the ad is enabled, if the ad group is paused, then of course this ad will not serve. And this seems to be the case in this particular example. Now, this can happen in various other similar situations as well. You might have your ads approved and enabled, your ad group enabled as well, but if your campaign is paused, of course, none of that will serve. So it's important to check the statuses at all levels of the ads, campaigns, and ad groups. Once if you ever run into a situation where you're seeing the ads not serving, do check the statuses at all the levels. Sorry, this is just to get a bit more detail about the campaign status, like I was talking about. Campaign status can also affect whether the ad surfing is serving or not. In this case, we're seeing that these campaigns are paused, and the way we see that is the symbol next to the campaign name. If it's enabled, it would be a green circle. If it's paused, it's the two straight lines. In order to view the campaigns, there is actually an option by which you can view the different types of campaigns and toggle different views. So if you click on that button at the top where it says all but removed campaigns at the moment, you'll see a menu in which it shows you the different views that you can have of the campaign view. So if you choose all, you get to see all the campaigns, including the removed campaigns, including deleted campaigns. If you choose all enabled, it'll show you only the enabled campaigns. That means the ones that with the green circle next to their status. And if you choose all but removed, it'll show you all enabled and paused campaigns, but it won't show you the removed campaigns. Now, the view that you choose to have is up to you. Many advertisers don't like to see their removed campaigns in their report, so they choose the all but removed, which also allows you to see the paused ones. Some advertisers don't want to see the paused ones, so in that case, you just might want to choose all enabled. But essentially, just do make sure that you know what view you're on when you're looking at the campaign view, and this is where you get to change what view you're looking at. Similarly, in the new interface, the status is actually located in a different place. In the new interface, towards the left of the account, where you see the three dotted lines, that is from where you will be able to access the status section. These three dotted lines are next to the all campaigns view. So from here, same options. The campaign status can be seen as all enabled and all but removed. Another additional feature in the new interface is that there is an ad group status option as well, by which you can choose the ad groups to be all enabled or all but removed. This is not available in the old interface. Okay, similarly to the campaigns and ads and ad group status is also the keyword status. Now, if your ads are enabled, campaign enabled, ad group enabled, but still not serving, take a look at your keywords. Are the keywords approved and enabled? Keywords can get disapproved, although it's not common, but keyword disapproval does happen. So do make sure to check keyword disapprovals. Generally, most commonly, keyword disapprovals are related to final URL issues at the keyword level. If you do see a keyword, I'll explain a bit more what that means. If you do see a keyword disapproved, you can get details of that disapproval reason by moving your mouse over the white box next to the keyword, next to the keyword status, and that'll bring up a new dialog box, which will show you that the keyword is disapproved. And in that, it'll also give you the disapproval reason. Now, here in this example, we can see the reason is the destination mismatch. So as I was saying, this is final URL issues that are causing this. Final URL issues basically means sometimes you can have URLs that you set at the keyword level. When that URL does not match the ad URL, then the keyword will be disapproved. Now, how will you check whether you have a final URL in the keyword level? Do it by dropping a column. So you click on columns towards the top of the account, go to modify columns, choose attributes, and there you will see the final URL. You add the final URL, and then your final URL column will be added to the report view, where you'll be able to see any URLs that are associated at the keyword level. If these URLs are not matching with the ad level URL, then the keywords will be disapproved. Keywords can also be in review if it's a brand new keyword just created. If you, and they're not serving, part of the reason could be that the keywords are still under review. That you can check also by going to the white box next to status. Even though it says eligible, by opening up the white box, if you see that it says pending review, that means that keyword is not ready to serve yet. Keyword reviews can also take some hours. Okay, moving on. Another issue that can often happen when it comes to ad serving is the start dates and end dates of campaigns. Campaigns, when you create campaigns, you would see an option to select or choose a start or an end date, meaning when you want the campaign to start, when you want it to end. It's a very useful feature depending on if you want to run certain time-based campaigns, certain seasonal campaigns, etc. So if you do find that some campaign is not running, that is also a place where you should check. Let's say, take an example for this particular campaign that's not serving. It's a search campaign in which we want to check whether it could be because of the start date. We'd go to the settings, and there we see that the campaign start date is in the future. Today is the 22nd, but this is at the set to the 24th. So when that is the case, the campaign obviously will not serve. And in the campaign view, that campaign will show as pending. The status will show as pending. So when you see pending, you'll know that it's to do with the campaign start date not having come yet. So if you do want to start serving a campaign already, if its start date is in the future, you can, of course, edit it and change it to today. If you want to edit the setting for a campaign, you again go to the search to the settings option. It's a settings tab. Go to the start date, click edit, and you'll get the chance to edit it and change it to today. Once you change it to today, the campaign will start serving from today. Same thing can happen in another campaign. Let's say if the end date is actually passed already. So again, this is what you will check in the settings. So the campaign end date has passed in 2015. So obviously the campaign will not serve. And when that happens, that campaign in the campaign report will show up as ended. And when you see that ended status, that means the campaign end date has already passed. Again, if you want to restart this campaign, you can change that. You can edit the campaign end date and change it to none from that same settings page that I showed you before. So these are things to check if you do see ads are not serving. Here we move on to a very common issue that we face often. A lot of our advertisers do end up searching for their own keywords. And a common query that comes our way is that my ads are not serving. I am searching for my keywords on google.com, but I am not able to see my ads. We understand that it is very tempting, actually, once you have created your ads and you want to find out whether your ads are serving or not, how they're going to look. It's very tempting to just go in on google.com and type in your keywords and hope to see your ad. We actually highly discourage our advertisers to search for their own keywords in order to see this, because the view that you will be seeing will not be an accurate representation of the ad status. Why is that? Because the system, the AdWords system, bases the ad serving on a various number of localized factors at any specific moment. These factors are numerous. They include device, time, location, search query, just to name a few, but there's hundreds. And these are automated and they're in the system. But the basic point is the system is designed to show an ad to a user based on these factors. If the system determines that you are not a relevant user, then you won't be shown this ad. And this determination is based on a combination of multiple localized factors, and by which the system will gauge whether you as a user are the target audience or not. If you're not, then you won't see the ad. In most cases, the way I see it is that if you don't consider, if you are not the likely person who would be a potential customer for that ad, it is you being not able to see the ad is actually the system working as intended. Therefore, we highly discourage from searching for your own keywords the way you do that. I'm just going to give you one scenario in which this could actually happen in the system. So this is not the only scenario in which the system might not show you your ad. This is one of them. Let's imagine that you search your own keywords in google.com, sportswear Pakistan, and you have a sportswear company. It might be that in the first time you see your ad at the top, it might be that you see it. However, you are not likely to click on your own ad, of course, right? Because it will cause you to lose money. However, let's say you check the ad next time again, another date, the next day, 2 days later, you search it again, and this time you see your ad at a lower position. You were shown the ad, you didn't click on it, therefore the system assumed that you're not a user who's interested in the ad. If you search that further again, you'll see it again lower, moving again lower. By the same logic, the system doesn't think you are someone who's interested, therefore it's deprioritizing the ad for you until eventually you're not going to see that ad anymore. That does not mean the ad is not serving to other users. It is serving. It is not serving to you because the system doesn't consider you a relevant user. So instead of typing in your own keywords in your google.com interface, the way we advise that you check your ads is by using the ad preview tool. This is found in the old interface in the tools menu by going to the ad preview and diagnosis tool, whereby you can actually see the status of the ad as it is at the moment when you check. And this nullifies a lot of the localized factors which impact you when you search it directly. So in the ad preview tool, once you're in the tool, you'll be able to actually select the location from which you want to check in which location the ad is showing, where you want to check it. Make sure the location you choose is a location that you're actually serving and targeting the ad to. Choose a language, that is the language of the search query that you'll be searching for, and the device in which you want to see the ad. You can choose desktop or laptop, or you can choose one or the other. In the ad preview tool, then you'd be typing in the search term. In this case, I use an example of Forex, foreign exchange. And once you type in, click on preview. And then the ad preview tool will show you a mock-up of a search page as your ad might show at that very moment. So if your ad is showing at that exact moment, you'll see the green bar at the top saying, yes, your ad is showing for the keyword. On the page itself, you will see the ad as well, as you can see towards the bottom. And this shows that the ad is showing at that exact moment that you did the search. However, there can be some times when you have done the same thing, location, language, device, you've put in the search term. This time I'm using a different example, coconut chair, and you click on preview and you don't see the ad, and the ad preview tool is telling you that your ad is not showing for the keyword. It's important to bear in mind that this message does not mean that your ad is not running at all. This message means that your ad is not running at that moment that you checked, and that can have various reasons. In this particular example, the reason is location. So it could be that the location that I've chosen is not one of the locations that I've targeted. However, there can be other reasons that the system will show you if the ad is not running. So do make sure to look at those reasonings, and do bear in mind, this is only saying what the ad status is at the moment you check. So it might be that you check again in 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, and the ad is showing again. The system is designed to spread out your budget as evenly as possible. Therefore, there will be times of the day when the ads won't show, and other times it will show. If you do see an ad status that is not showing, don't panic. Wait some time. Check again. See what happens there. In the new interface, the ad preview tool is located in a different place. It's not in the tools menu, but in the tools icon at the top right where I showed. And if you open it up, it's an extensive menu over there. And inside it, you'll see ad preview and diagnosis. All right. Another reason that the account might not be serving is account suspensions. Now, suspensions of accounts are actually quite complete, as in once an account is suspended, nothing will run. Ad serving will stop completely if the account is suspended due to policy violations or payment issues or various other peripheral issues that can also occur. If an account is suspended, you will see the message at the top of the account. The above screenshot is the new interface, and the below one is the old interface. So do make sure to check the status of the account suspension and why the account is suspended. You'll see details of the violation there. There are various reasons. The common reasons for account suspension is policy violations. That means AdWords policies are not being maintained by the account again and again. That can cause accounts to be suspended if the repeated violations occur. Unpaid balances can cause account to be suspended. Chargebacks. That means if your account was charged by automatic payments, but you cancel the payment from your bank side, it might cause it to be cause the account to be suspended if you reverse the charge, that is. Promo code abuse issues, if there's suspicious payment activities. So that means our review teams and specialists do check on account payment statuses and to make sure that there are no issues with regards to payments, and any issue of suspicious payments could cause accounts to be suspended. Unauthorized access to accounts, if our reviews show that the account was maybe possibly hacked or accessed by somebody without the authorization, we would suspend the account to protect it. And if there's repeated violations. Now, in all of these account suspensions, you can appeal for the suspension if you believe that your account is in compliance to policy, or if you believe that the suspicious payments for which it was suspended is not true. There is a process to appeal it, and the appeal form can be found in our help center. Other issues that can cause ads for not serving includes billing issues. So ad serving can be affected if there are payment issues in the account. Now, in order to check your billing and payments page, that has to be accessed in the new interface from the menu, the tool menu over there, from which then you go to billing and payments. In the old interface, it's again going by the gear icon and then going to billing and payments. In billing and payments, depending on what your account is set to, you'll be able to see what the issue might be. So if your account is set to manual payments, check to make sure that there is credit in the account. So in this setting that we're seeing, this account is on manual payments, but when we look at the summary page, there is no credit remaining on this account. In this case, the ads will not serve. If this account is an automatic payments, the issue could be that there was unsuccessful charges. If the automatic charge that's done by the account is not successful in going through, it will cause the account to be disabled. So in this example, if you see the way you see this is in the transactions section, and in the transactions section here, we can see that there was a number of automatic payments that were declined and they failed, which caused the account to stop. But then again, this AdWords system keeps trying, charging again and again. Eventually, it was successful, and after that, the ad started resume serving again. One question that we often get is we get calls from advertisers saying the AdWords is not accepting my payments and my account is not running. How is that? Please help. One thing I would just like to clarify, payment failures on automatic charges are never caused by Google not accepting payment. Just so you understand here, Google is a merchant in the situation. If Google can receive a payment, we will definitely receive a payment. There is no premise by which, if we're able to receive a payment, we'll say, no, we don't want it. As a merchant, Google will always receive payments. So whenever there's failed charges that happen in an automatic payment account, it's generally with the bank or the financial institution. There can be various reasons for that. There can be restrictions on the card. There can be payment limits on the card. Specifically, certain cards might require verification of CVV numbers when the charge is made from Google, but Google is unable to store any CVV numbers. So do check with your bank about any kind of payment failures that happen, any restrictions that might be. Payment failures are always at the bank or the financial institution's end. Now, beyond automatic and manual, the third billing setting that could happen is monthly invoicing. Now, if your account is monthly invoicing and it's not serving, there can be various reasons related to the budget order. So if your account's not serving, first thing to check, is there an active budget order in the account? The place you would check this is going to the billing and payments, going to account budgets. And in this example, we can see that there is no budget order created. If there is no budget order in an invoicing account, ads cannot serve, because that is the budget order is from where the ads will receive the payments. Will take the costs for the ad serving. Another issue can be that there is a budget order, but the start date on the existing budget order has not arrived yet. So here we see that there's a budget order, but the start date is in the future. If that is the case, of course, this budget order will not be valid yet. It'll only start serving when the future date comes, and the status of that budget order will be pending. Budget orders can also be an issue if the existing budget order date has already passed. So if the end date of the budget order has already passed, then of course the budget order will not be serving. If that is the case, the status of the budget order will say ended, and you'll also see a message in the account saying the budget has ended. If that is the case, you can do edits on the budget order to make the date at a later date. Also, if the budget order amount is exhausted. Now, budget orders can be created as unlimited, never ending, but they can also be created with a finite time and a finite amount. If that amount is exhausted in the budget order, then the ads will stop serving. So do check the budget order if you do see that ads are not serving. If you see that the 100% of the set budget amount has been used up, then yes, the ads will stop serving. And the message in red banner will say account budget is exhausted. If that is the case, you can edit the budget as well and increase the amount. It'll draw from your credit line. Okay, moving on. There's certain other issues that can also cause ad serving restrictions. I'm just going to go through a few issues in the search network that can cause that. Let's say if you're looking at a search campaign and you're seeing in that search campaign there is no data, no traffic. What could be going on in that case? A number of things. Could be with the keyword status. Make sure to look at the keyword list of this campaign and then check what the status of the keywords are. If you see a lot of keywords that are showing a low search volume status or a low search volume status itself across many of the keywords, that could be a reason why your ads are not serving. This status indicates that that particular keyword doesn't have a history of being searched often in Google. Therefore, it just doesn't have high volumes. In such cases, we discourage you to use such low search volume keywords. We would say that to find other keywords more related to your business and the product, and that have more volume. Issues could also be with location settings. If you see that the ads are not serving, take a look at the location settings. Is the location too narrow? Sometimes we have advertisers target ads in a very small area. In this example, we have 1 mile around a particular radius. That is a very small target area. And if your target area gets too small, ads might not serve. Generally, in the setup, 5 miles is like the minimum that is recommended, like the minimum lowest that you should go to. But in most cases, I would say, don't restrict it too much, because as low as you get, you're reducing the amount of target audience that you have, and ad serving might be restricted by that. There can also be issues with bid adjustments. Here you can see, for example, in this issue, the device bid adjustments are set to negative values. Now, all of these can also cause ads to not be competitive for these devices and therefore not serve at all. Easy fixes for all of these. Ensure that the sufficient number of keywords that you have eligible status in the campaign. The targeted location should be large enough for there to be a big enough audience. And if you're doing bid adjustments, don't make it too restrictive. If you do negative bid adjustments, don't go too close to minus 100%. Minus 100% means not serving at all. But if you're hovering on minus 80, minus 70, that's still pretty high, and it might not serve ads. On the display network as well, we often can see issues with ad serving. This can be related to targeting. With the targeting settings. I'm just going to take an example of one case here. Let's say this ad group that I have in this display campaign is not showing any data, ads are not serving. And then when I look into the targeting, if I want to see how the targeting is set, I'll have to go to the Display Network tab. And in that tab, I go in and I see that it has topic, it has interest, it has display, it has placements, it has demographics, it has all the targets added into one. This ad group is overloaded with all targeting methods being combined at once. And on top of that, these targets are being set as target and bid. This is a very restricted targeting setup. In this kind of a targeting setup, if you have all of these different targets together and then you set them as target and bid, it is most likely not going to serve because the target audience that you have available is extremely small. I think I'd imagine, so I'd just like to explain a bit here what the difference is between target and bid versus bid only. This is the subsettings that you would be seeing in the display network. Imagine an ad group where we set a number of topic targets. So we chose a number of topics that we want to target. In that same ad group, we also then added, the target includes a set number of people and topics. Yeah. We also then added on top of this a placements target. So we chose maybe 20 placements, which are websites, as being the target. So then these two became a combination. And on top of that, we are at a third target, which is an interest target. So all these three combined would kind of look like a Venn diagram like that. If you were to choose target and bid for all of them, this would mean that the system, you're telling the system to target your ads to only the intersection of all these three combinations. That makes it a very small target area. Meanwhile, if you choose it as bid only, it's not actually telling the system to restrict it to that target. It only tells the system to target the entirety of the area, combining all three circles. But setting it as bid only gives you the opportunity to set specific bids for the topics you chose, for the placements you chose, or for the interests you chose. So bid only is a way for which to view the different targets differently in your report to give you the flexibility to bid separately for each target. Whereas for target and bid, it actually takes all the targets and combines them and restricts them to that. So always make sure to look at your display network targeting settings. You don't want it to be too restrictive. In this example, I was saying that all of them are, if you set all of them to target and bid, then it'll go to that small middle section. But maybe you can choose instead to have just one as target and bid and the others as bid only. That's still less restrictive. It will still include the other two that are bid only. It will include all of those audiences as targets. Generally, for displaying target campaigns, it's recommended that you do not combine more than 3 targets at the same time. Of course, this is no hard and fast rule. Depending on your needs and your targets and your product, you should use what you do. But do bear in mind, if you do restrict too much, ads can stop serving because the targeting is too limited. Yeah, and it's also encouraged to not have all of them as target and bid. Make sure to also have some as bid only. So that's general recommendation on targeting. In the new interface, the terminology is a bit different. Target and bid is now called targeting, whereas bid only is called observation. The function is the same. Targeting means the system will restrict the target to the chosen target into that small area of the Venn diagram I showed you before. Observation means the system will isolate the target for reporting and give you the option to bid separately on that target, but it will not restrict to that target. It's important to understand this distinction between the two. It'll be useful for you when you're choosing display network targets. Okay, another issue that can happen in display network is remarketing lists. If you're using a remarketing list that is restricted for some reason or is not eligible to serve, then of course that ad group will not be able to serve. If you say a display campaign and the ads are not serving, check if the ad group is using your marketing list to target ads. This you can check from the Display Network Campaign tab by going in there and then going to Interest and Remarketing subsection. Once you go there, it'll show you if there's any remarketing list being used. In this one, there's an all visitors list that we can see is applied to this ad group. Now, in what okay, before I proceed, it's showing. So this is how to find whether the ad group is using a remarketing list in the display network. In the search network campaign, you find it in a different place. In a search network campaign, you'd have to go to if you don't see the ad serving. If you want to check if there's a remarketing list or not, you have to go to the audience section, which is a sub tab on the search network. And under the audience section, if there's a list, you'll be able to see it in the table there. Now, what could be the issue if there is a list on the campaign? If a campaign or ad group that is using your marketing list target ads is not serving, it could be because the list size is not big enough to serve. Your marketing lists are of different sizes, and they grow in size based on the traffic that you get on your site. So, and there are actually upper limits as to how big a list has to be able to serve. You can check the status of a list by going to shared library in the account, and this is in the old interface, and then go into the audiences section. That's where you will see all the lists that are available. Let's take the example of this all visitors list. In this list, these are just numbers I've actually made up, so um, don't take this to heart, but I just want to demonstrate here the upper limits here of the list. Here it's showing the display has 93 users. This list might not serve for display because a remarketing list needs at least 100 active users for display to be able to serve in a campaign or an ad group. Similarly, it shows for search 560 users. Again, this is less than what's required. For search remarketing list to serve, you need at least 1,000 active users to be able to work. So do bear in mind, a remarketing list, the size of the remarketing list does matter if the remarketing list serves or not. Another thing that can limit a remarketing list is whether it is eligible for use or not, based on the personalized advertising policy. Now, the personalized advertising policy is outlined here. You can actually find this document in our support center. I don't want to go through everything in detail, but just gist of this is the policy is generally surrounding a few issues. One is personally identifiable information. Two, precise location information. Three, overly narrow targets. So remarketing lists, as you understand, it uses information of user behavior to target ads to them. Now, we have policies that don't allow the use of user behavior and user information for certain kind of things. One of the most basic things are, for example, healthcare related products. If you have a healthcare related product, using remarketing lists for those kind of products is actually against policy, because that is using sensitive personal information of a user to target them some kind of healthcare. Essentially, you are using the knowledge that someone searched for about a disease, and the knowledge that this person might have that disease, to then target your product to them. That is against our policy and a code of conduct and ethics. So do look into the policy surrounding remarketing lists. Personalized advertising policies are more restrictive than normal policies. Not all products can be used with remarketing lists, precisely because of these reasons. So do look through that, and that could be the reason why your ads might not serve for if there are remarketing lists in it. Bidding issues. This is also can cause ads to not serve. Check bids for ads to be high enough. Essentially, if the campaign is a manual CPC, bids are being read from the ad group level. If the bids in the ad group are too low, then the ads will not serve. Make sure it's high enough to be competitive. Again, if the campaign is on manual CPC, if you do set manual bids at the keyword level, that can also affect it. So a few things, just to note here, if you're on manual CPC and you do not touch your keyword bids, meaning you never went in and edited your keyword bids, those bids, the keywords will bid at the ad group bid that is set. Okay. If nothing is touched at the keyword level, the default bid will be used as the ad group bid. But you do have the option to go in and change your keyword bids manually as well. If you do so, then it'll be the keyword bid that'll be used and not the ad group bid. So if you do go into keywords and then change the bids, make sure that the bids are high enough to be competitive in the ad auction. Just basic checks to do for the ads when you do see ads not serving, to make sure to raise the bids and see if it changes anything. For brand new campaigns with no performance data, avoid using conversion-based bids from the very beginning. Campaigns might not serve because they do not have sufficient conversion data. This actually can happen with new campaigns. Oftentimes when people set up new campaigns and they just want conversions, you might be tempted to set one of these 4 conversion-based strategies from the get-go. But we highly discourage you to do that, because if a campaign doesn't have enough conversion data, it might not be able to serve effectively on a conversion-based bid strategy. So we recommend, if you are to use conversion-based bid strategy, do make sure that the campaign has at least 15 to 20 conversions in the last 30 days. Then we would recommend you can go ahead and use the conversion-based strategies, and you should see some traffic. But if there's no conversions at all and it's a brand new campaign, we discourage you to use the conversion-based. Use some other kind of bid strategy, be it manual, maximize clicks, target search based location, one of those, but avoid the conversion-based bid strategy. That could be a reason why your ads might not serve. A common question we often get: how to decide what bid to set? Of course, it's the general common question. Whenever you do set up new campaigns, it's you do want to know where to set it. Bids, but we don't have a set answer. Bids differ greatly by different targeting options like locations and devices. One of the places where you can get some estimates of bids is Keyword Planner and Display Planner tool. This can be found by going to the tools and then the Keyword and Display Planner. However, auction markets are dynamic and they're always prone to change. Therefore, the estimates that you get from these tools are not guaranteed estimates by which you should go by all the time. There can be some differences and changes that might affect your campaign change. So my recommendation generally is the best way to understand a bid level would to run some tests. If you have the leeway and some time to run like a test campaign for a week using all the targets that you intend to use, that'll give you an idea of where the market level bid is for those specific targets. And that'll be the most accurate way for you to see what the bid might be. Issues sometimes we face with video campaigns, people running a video campaign and nothing is serving. A very common issue that we see with that is actually in the video content exclusions. So let's say you've checked everything with the bid, you've made sure the ads are approved, yada, yada, yada. Specifically for video campaigns, one issue that happens is in the video content exclusions. This can be checked in the video targeting section. By going into the video targeting sub-tab, you scroll down and you'll see a section where you can go exclusions, check for the content exclusions. Then if you see that in the exclusions, all the content types are selected as excluded, in this situation, ads will not serve. You must have at least one content exclusion not excluded for ad to be able to serve, because if you select all of them, then you're excluding it from everything that's available. Some performance issues that I'd like to cover here. Low CTR is one issue that we often face. Low CTR means that your ads are getting impressions, but users are not clicking on the ads after seeing them. This means generally, I just want to break down the type of ads that can have these kind of issues. Let's say we look at the different types here. Search ads, let's say all types of search ads, meaning all kinds of keywords. Search ads that are related to branded keywords, let's say. Display ads and video ads. Okay, so these are the ad types. Now, what do we mean by low CTR? Like what is this kind of CTR that you can expect for these kind of ads, based on the fact that there are different kinds of ads and people and users interact with different kinds of ads in different ways. For search ads overall in general, you can expect a 3 to 4% CTR for generic keywords related to the industry as a whole. If you see a 3 to 4% CTR, I would say that's a healthy CTR for generic keywords. For branded keywords, anything around 10% or above could be considered healthy CTR for those. This again depends on the kind of the brand recognition and the brand that you're using. If it's a very well-known brand, you might even see much higher. But yeah, in general, higher than the overall keywords. Display ads, sometimes we see less than 1% on CTR for display ads, or even 1%. If I do see 1%, I would say that's generally a healthy CTR for displays. This is because display ads are catered towards impressions and not clicks. Display ads are about branding. So I often think it's not a good way to look at display ads if you look at the CTR only, and base your optimization on CTR, because they're not intended for clicks. They're intended for impressions. And video ads, close to nil. It's very rare that somebody clicks on a video ad while it's playing, which is why we often see that video ads have very low CTRs, and because users are unlikely to click on the video ads. Now, do note these are average overall estimates. There's no guaranteed CTRs or for these specific ad types, but these are averages based on our observations for these different ad types across the network. These variations, these can vary by country, it can vary by time of day, by target, by device. So do bear that in mind as you take these numbers. If you do get low CTR, first thing I would say, check your search terms report. In the search term report, what are the searches that are bringing you traffic? Search term report can be accessed from the keywords tabs and then going to the search terms. This basically is showing all the terms that users typed that caused your ad to show, and the resultant activity from that. So here in the search term report, this is where you'll see the search terms. If you're seeing a lot of search terms that are bringing you impressions but not clicks, then think about it. Think about what those search terms are and what are the keywords that are being triggered by that search term. Are you maybe using the wrong kind of keyword there? Maybe you can use negative keywords to block those specific search terms. Maybe you don't want those search terms to trigger your ads anymore. So do look at the search terms report. It's a great place to start any kind of analysis when it comes to performance of a search network. Then you can check your low CTR keywords on your keyword list. You can filter out the low CTR keywords by using a filter over here. So here I'm looking at between 0% and 2% CTR. That shows me the keywords that are falling within that range. And then just rework your keyword. Think about what those keywords are doing and what they might not be delivering. So it's a good time to then rethink your ad message. If impressions are low, but CTR, if you have impressions, but you have low CTR, that indicates people are seeing your ads when they search it, but the ad message does not make them want to click it. If your search term report shows that the search queries are relevant, it means your ad message is not meeting your users' expectations, meaning people are searching something, search query is relevant, they're seeing your ad, they still don't want to click on your ad. That means something's up with the message. In such situations, rework your ad headlines and your description lines and look for different variations of it. Is it something about how the words you're including in your headline that's not really pulling people in to click on it? So these are the things to think about if you do see such an issue. Yeah. Performance issues, high CPC. Oftentimes we get questions like, I'm paying, my CPC is way too high. I want it to be lower. One thing to bear in mind, CPCs can be improved to a certain point by improving the quality score of your keywords. However, beyond a certain point, CPCs are dependent on the market level bid. If competitors are bidding much higher, then CPCs are going to be high for the market. But where you can work on it is with the keyword quality score ranges. Now, keyword quality score ranges from 1 to 10. A score of 1 to 4 is quite low. Score of 5 to 7, we might say average, and 8 to 10 is good. Keyword quality score, low scores causes ad rank to be low, and therefore can cause CPCs to be higher. So it is very important that you work on your quality score of your keywords if you want good performance. Where to check the quality score of the keyword? Drop a column. The column can be accessed from their columns, modify columns, quality score, and then quality score by adding it. Once you add it, it'll drop it as a column. In the new interface, you do it from keywords, then that bar menu, modify columns. Once you do that, under attributes, you'll be able to see quality score and select it and apply, and it'll apply it. Once the quality score is applied to the report, you'll see it in the report itself. quality score columns appears as qual score. Sometimes keywords might not have any quality score. This is because the keyword does not have enough data for the system to be able to calculate its quality score. So don't panic when you see that. Do allow the system and the keyword to get more impressions and data, and then you should see the quality score. How to improve the keyword quality score? I'm going to quickly go through this. We are kind of over time, but I'll try to end in the next 5 minutes or so. Ad relevance is a major factor that affects quality score. So what is ad relevance? This is a status that describes how well your keyword matches the message of your ad. If someone searches for a keyword and your ad shows up, does it seem that your ad is directly related to their search? So ad relevance is a measurement that we have on our end to make sure that the keywords that you're using are closely related to the ads that you have. This is to ensure user experience. As a user, you want to make sure that what I'm searching and the ad I'm seeing are closely related. Otherwise, if they're very different from each other, that's a bad user experience. So ad relevance from our end is to ensure the good user experience. How would you improve ad relevance? Use keywords that relate to your ads. So for an ad about blue shoes, don't use keywords like red sandals because that is not closely related to the ad. That is low ad relevance. Also, make sure that you use your keywords in the ad text and the headlines. If you're using a keyword blue shoes, include those in the ad in the words in the ad text, and that'll increase the ad relevance as well. Second factor that affects the keyword quality score is the landing page experience. AdWords measures how well your website gives people what they're looking for when they click your ad. Your landing page is the URL people will arrive at when they click your ad, and AdWords analyzes through various different combinations how effective and useful your landing page is. There are many factors that can improve the landing page experience. You can find this information in our support center. There's a very nice article actually on landing page experience in our support page, which can give you a breakdown of all the factors that could affect it. So relevant, useful content, transparency, trustworthiness of the site. If you have enough information, do you have contact information? Is the site good? Does the site work well on mobile? Does it work well on computer? Is the site loading fast enough? Is the site menus easy to navigate? All of these factors affect the landing page experience. So it's actually quite an important factor to look at. It's outside of AdWords. This is an optimization that is not within AdWords, but is actually a very important factor, and it does affect AdWords. So with your clients, if you're speaking with your clients talking about AdWords, do talk about landing page experience being a factor that does affect how your ads perform. The landing page should be good. Other billing queries, I'm briefly just going to talk about this here. Oftentimes we get queries where you would need an account to be set on invoicing. If you're using an MCC, and if your MCC account is authorized for your credit line, your line of credit that is, you will be able to do this yourself. You will be able to set your own child accounts into your own credit line if your MCC is authorized for that credit line. Therefore, my recommendation is if your MCC is not authorized yet, go get it authorized. In order to get the MCC authorized for your credit line, you will have to reach out to our AdWords support team with the request. You can fill out a form, as I've written out here, support.google.com/adwords/content/inv_2_CB. And this form will ask for some of this information, and just fill in the information and send it over to us, and we'll be able to fill that in. Once your MCC is authorized for a credit line, let's say you're creating a new account. If your MCC is authorized, if you go to the billing setting of the new account and choose the country and click continue, you will be able to see the credit line as an option to choose for you. Let's say it's an existing account and you want to put it on your current credit line. Your MCC is authorized. You simply go to billing and payments section, go to billing transfer, go to billing change, and then click on change who pays. Once you do that, you'll be able to see your credit line being available for use. I just covered a few things. There can be many more questions. If you do need more help, we do have other outlets. Where to find more support? First thing I would say, go to the AdWords Help Center. We have many articles on all these topics that we covered and various other advanced topics as well, where you can find information on what you need. Check with the AdWords community forum. Now, these are community forums where there are specialists and experts that do make posts and respond on those forums. And certain questions that are very specific, can be very specific to your account, very customized. Setup issues can be found in these community forums, and it's a very vibrant community. You can often find the answer that Help Center might not have in the community forum. Also, to look at Think with Google. Now, this is like a platform that we have where you can find market resources, consumer insights, market research on various locations, industries, etc. This can also be useful for you for getting insights and numbers. And lastly, webinars like this. So this webinar series that we have started, as a source of information and support. We also periodically have other kind of webinar series that do occur. You can find the webinar schedules actually in the link here, events.withgoogle.com/Google-AdWords-webinar. Finally, you can definitely reach to our support team, and there are different options by which you can do that. You can send an email to us from within your account. If you go to the top right corner, there is a help option, and it should lead you to an email section. Sometimes the help center, the help option might lead you through certain issue types that you have to go through to end up on an article. And only then, once you're finally on the article, would you see an option to send an email. So just follow through with the links. We have advertisers often calling us like, I don't see an email option directly at the top right. That's true. That can happen. But just follow through with the help links. Go with the issue type, click through to the different issue types. Eventually, you'll reach an article where you will see contact options at the bottom of the article. That is, of course, if the article is not helpful for you, do contact us. Yeah. Also, there'll be a chat option that you should see available in your account. Chat hours are APAC operating hours. That is 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Singapore time, Monday to Thursday, and Friday 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Finally, we have some new actually phone options by which you can reach us. For Pakistan, the toll-free number is listed here, 008-009-0033047. You can also, if that doesn't work, you can also do what is by a click to call. So there's a form. You can actually write this down if you are interested in that. support.google.com/adwords/contact/C2C_AdWords?HL=EN. I know it's a bit complex, but this is the C2C form whereby you can go into the form, fill it out, put in your phone number, and submit it. We will call you back within a few minutes. So that's also a useful option by which to reach the support team. Again, support hours are set 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Singapore time on Monday to Thursday, and Friday 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Hopefully this was a useful webinar for you. We did kind of cover a lot of topics. Would really appreciate it if you would fill out the survey for us. If you do have questions, this is your chance to ask them. It would be in the survey. So please do go to the survey form, https://goo.gl/form/8JDQI84KK6Y0ITZE3. Apologies for the complex title. This form, please, I would encourage you to fill out this form. Please let us know if this was useful, what was helpful, what was not. And there's a comment section at the top, at the bottom. Please do ask your questions if you have any pending questions. All right. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope this was useful. We do hope to see you again next week. We'll provide more information about what the webinar will be next week and the topic about that, and I'll share with you links as well on that. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.